Hello everyone, my name is Juan Rosales. This is my final exam position. This is my second year taking Engineering Architecture 3 at Joliet Central High School. Let's begin. My first project is the phone stand. The problem with this one was that my old phone stand had broken and I didn't want to spend money to go buy a new one, and so I solved it. I want to create my own and customize it to my liking. The first process of the engineering design process, you have to research. For my research, I went online to find different models of what I can find some reference of. I found these two in an app called MakerWorld. I like this top one because of the initial design of it, but I like this one because of the creativity. I then moved on to sketching, which I want to design both of them, so I went to see which one I would like more. But I tend to move on closer to the bottom one because of its how portability it is and how small it can fit in my pocket. I then move on to Inventor. It was just like a basic design I wanted to right now. It wasn't that challenging yet, but I hope I wanted to add a little hinge so I can flip open. But I still had options to choose. I went to testing phase. I wanted to see which hinge would work best for me. This first one was a push in place hinge. The problem with this one was that the material right here would bend. Now this was version 2. To fix the bending, I made this hole right here a little bit more deeper so that it wouldn't push it that much. It was affected, but the hinge would not work the best for this design I wanted to go with. That was hinge number 2. For this one, it was in pin in place where this can turn by itself. It worked amazing, but it was a little bit too loose. To fix it, made it a little bit smaller, but the problem is I didn't take into account how small the design will be, and it snapped in half. To fix, I want to switch to a magnet, so I had to test a little magnet holes for the different sizes, see which one works best for my small portable phone stand. Once I tested it out, I thought it was done and I was ready to 3-pin it entirely again, but I was having a deep gut feeling that my hole for where my phone would be was wrong, and as I checked, I made a test print. It was too small. So to fix this, I made this piece right here a little bit longer and made the angle a bit to 45. Now that everything was done, I went down to drawings. I started with doing just these two pieces since there were only two pieces in the phone stand. It was pretty simple. They had the same dimensions and everything. Now I was able to 3D print, and this took about like 30 minutes. And easy to assemble since it was only two pieces, and all I had to do was add the magnets. And that's how it turned out. My next project is the selfie stick. First thing, as always, is researching. I found these two, which I really like. I like the uniqueness of this. As you can see, there's like a pattern I really like. I like things that have unique designs. And the one that works the best. Now the bottom one, I like because how it can extend to. And I was thinking about like this, but it looks more for like a GoPro, which I didn't have, and I wanted for my phone instead. So ultimately, I went with the one at the bottom that can extend. Started off by sketching, identified problem. I never had a selfie stick, and whenever I tried to take group photos, mine would turn out really bad. So to solve it, I wanted to make a selfie stick. So I made a general rough sketch of how it would look like and how it would look assembled. Then I move on to designing each individual piece. The first piece was the attachment base. It was pretty simple. All I had was one threaded hole right here that was easy to make. The only problem was the fillets. I wasn't sure how I should make the fillets right now, but since this is all in the metric system, I just left it how it was. Next were the the screw for the hole, then the holder part 1 and 2, which will hold my phone in place, was a rubber band. These weren't too hard, but had a lot of details in that had the dimension. There was these holes right here, this piece in the middle, which was pretty difficult as the dimensions, because they had like a piece of it cut off at the end. That's because that's where the rubber band will hold in place. So that was pretty difficult to dimension that. And then for this piece, it was pretty simple as well, because I also had a little piece right here, same as this, that was cut off so the rubber parent could hold it in place. But other than that, it was pretty easy. Now, the most difficult piece of this project was the handle. It had so many interior dimensions that were hard to find, and I couldn't do it without 3D printing it, which I was able to do. I had to do a half section review, which took a while, as it was so many dimensions. They had, I think it was 5 inner pieces that extended out, which was took me maybe a week to dimension. Then I went while waiting for my other pieces to 3D print. I started modeling them. This, like I said before, the attachment base was hard because of the fillets. I had to re-dimension it again to find out exact was the metric system. But other than that, it was pretty easy. I just needed to make a threaded hole right here, and yeah. Next, it was the holder part 1 and part 2. As it had a lot of dimension, it took me also a week to finish it. It had different fillets right here. Like right here, it was a 5 millimeter a fillet, and up here was a 2 millimeter. So I had to switch from on and off from different ones. Then from the top image, I made a mistake right here where the dimensions were a little bit longer than it should be. So everything was off place. So this piece, there was like a big gap in the middle that I had to remove. And to order to fix all that, I had to remake this front part again. Next is onto the handle, most difficult piece. It took me almost a week and a half to finish it. The part itself was easy. The inner parts though, those were hard. A lot. Those were just hard. The first inner part was the most difficult, as I didn't know how to find the dimensions of the circles, because it had 2 different circles in it. The first inner circle was this that connected to the top piece to the other circle. And then the other circle connected from the bottom piece of it. So that was pretty difficult to find, as I was trying to find the center of it. Then also finding the exact point where the other circle right here that cuts it off in place. And after that, I was able to assemble. It was pretty straightforward from here on afterwards, as I didn't have much dimensions to do. The one mistake though is that for my holder part 2, I actually forgot to make the file into the metric system. Instead, I was doing it in inches, which made my piece huge. To fix it though, there's a tool called Direct Edit. I'm able to edit the entire object that I made and scale it down. To scale it down to the millimeters, I have to scale it down by 25.4%, so it can match the metric system. And then I move on to expose them. This just took a few minutes to make, as they're pretty easy to move out and everything. Then I moved to the drawings. I was able to get both the title and expose assembly done the same day, as they were pretty easy. They didn't require dimensions, and the other pages do. Then I went on to the drawings. I had the screw, the holder part 1 and holder part 2. Took a bit since these had a lot of dimensions. Not that many dimensions, but they were still a lot. Then in the screw, I actually made a mistake. So this entire part right here was supposed to be cut off in my original design, but when I was dimensioning it, I forgot to cut it off, and I had to redo it real quick so I can fix it. Then this took like 2 days to dimension. I had a lot of dimensions from the circles in here. As you can see, each different inner part had a different circle for dimension, so it was pretty hard to find that. But other than that, the half section view was pretty straightforward after that. And that's the final product. It turned out it works great. Unfortunately, though, it kind of only works for my phone and not for other people's phones, so that was kind of one of the downsides of it. To fix that, I think I will have to make the holder part 1 and part 2 a little bit taller, so it can be adjustable to someone's different phone through their thickness of their phone. And then one new thing for this semester was we did Cat Adventure Fridays. So what Cat Adventure Friday is that it helps us prepare for the IDA or skills use competition, or to find something new to learn in the softwares that we have. So either AutoCAD, Inventor, Revit, or you can go to Solid Professors to find something new, or go to YouTube to watch videos. I chose to practice for IDAs, as my skills for it have been really rough this past few months, and I want to improve them for the idea as this is the first competition. So for like Skills USA, I had more time to practice for it, and the idea the date for the competition is coming up fast. So I want to work my way up from the first year that IDA started to the current year 2025. I first started was 2015, which is the first one that has a 2D machine CAD problem. It took me about like an hour and 45 minutes to finish. It wasn't that bad as I have done this problem in the previous years. So it was a good fresh memory for me. And that's it. I want to thanks everyone for watching. I want that everyone help me, Mr. West, Oziel, Romeo, Geo, everyone. Thank you so much for helping and have a nice day.